Greetings, ladies and gents, and welcome to today's Reddit Quickie from the subreddit HFY, called the Wawful Hurt. There exists upon various realms and eateries that provides not only sustenance, but an experience. It carries an atmosphere of comfort that welcome no matter how utterly and blindingly drunk someone might, or entirely sober, no matter how peaceful or wantonly aggressive, no matter how normal or figuratively strange. It is a place where all are welcome to soak up their booze with greasy food, drink some coffee while they study, or just otherwise take a break from their lives. It is a place that never closes, is also open to anyone, just waiting for you to step out of your routine and into the beautifully bizarre world that is Wawfully Yurt. Come on, taking two, the human consult. Jaeger had long since given up on trying to keep both eyes open and settled on just peering out at the world around him through one. It seemed to help, sort of. Things were wobbling on him quite so hard, and the only reason that he was even able to walk forward was all that he was partially supported by his new friend, and they both slowly staggered together, mostly forward, bouncing off each other for mutual support, as they forced their legs to try and continue in the direction that they sort of wanted. It probably sucks human food, so greasy. Bet is like bad. Whispertail muttered as Jaeger made to the edge of the building, thumping against the window and leaning on it for a moment to steady himself the last distance to the door. You know what the figs. You'll probably call the Deca Basu. Jaeger wagged a finger at the Ravix, who growled for a moment and tried to reach down and grab the finger, but missed, and then staggered forward as Jaeger had to quickly try and grab him to make sure that he was stumbling off course. What's that? Is that Deca Basu? Whispertail tried asking, slowly slid along the outside of the building, staggering closer to the door. I don't know, some weep something. Jaeger shrugged. I don't know what species with the weeb. Whispertail mentioned with a frown and looked very concerned right before belching and then looking better. Yeah, you get it. It's like there's a whole nother species. Jaeger nodded and then finally grabbed the door, holding it open before staggering inside, colliding with the counter before easing himself into the seat. Been a while, Jaeger. A somewhat larger woman of indeterminate age, or may not be wearing a wig, mentioned as she leaned over to the other side of the counter, already reaching for a pot of coffee to pour into the man's mug. Hey, Candace's my favorite waitress. Jaeger nodded and then reached back to help drag Whispertail into the next seat. This is my new friend Grumptail. He snickered a little. Whisper, the Ravix growled out. Can't be that hangover yet. Why is it I need to whisper? Jaeger asked before giggling a little. You're so drunk. I'm not drunk. You're drunk. I'm just, tired. Whispertail grumbled before slowly trying to pick up one of the laminated menus, his claws having trouble trying to pick up off the counter. Stupid human menu, inferior. I got this. Jaeger insisted as he set his hand on his new friend's shoulder. We want. He looked for a moment to switch his eye that he had to open to try and get a clearer image of Candace to focus on. 2 brown, scattered, covered, smothered, chunked to start, and a peck and waffle, then petty melt split. Then he looked over up. You want T-bone or the fried pork chops? Yes, the Whispertail nodded slowly as Jaeger frowned up at him. No, which? He tried to ask. Yes, the Whispertail nodded, a bit more fervently. Okay, fine. Both. Jaeger shrugged at Candace. You know the order to bring 'em. The waitress nodded and then turned back as the young fry cook behind her was already passing up 2 plates with pecan waffles on them. Once Jaeger had stumbled through the door, they had started cooking. The old soldier was a bit unpredictable when in his entirely inebriated state. Yes, pecan waffle. Jaeger took a butter and completely slathered it all over the steaming hot waffle to ensure that every possible nook was filled with the yellowy cream. And then he muttered a little and reached over for the syrup. He wanted to obliterate his waffle in syrup next. But as he reached for his hand, he swooped and snagged the first thing, and he blinked as he tried to focus on the figure next to him. Well, she poured the syrup all over everything on her plate. Hey, I wanted that, Jaeger muttered. Well, too bad. I take what I want, and I wanted your syrup. The woman hissed back, giving her fiery red hair a quick toss. Jaeger frowned a bit and tried to focus on her a little longer. Are you related to Brandy Lynn? He muttered. Brandy Lynn? That sounds like a white trash name. The woman scoffed. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, Jaeger nodded. How dare you? I'm not white trash. I'm a pirate queen. She pulled the sword from her hip then, holding it high. You have no idea who you insulted, for I... Before she could do anything else, the fry cook quickly brought out his spatula, up with a parry with a sword. No judging, you know the rules, Andy. He wagged a finger at her. My name isn't Andy. My name is Beautiful. You have to say the whole thing. Andromeda. She huffed. No judging, the fry cook insisted, as he glared at her despite being a teen. As smaller than her, he didn't back down. You want to eat here? You can't wave swords around. Fine, the woman huffed, sheathed her sword before sitting back down heavily at a stool. Jaeger, meanwhile, was trying to look at the companion on the other side, a dull-coated Japasi with an outrageous sailing admiral's uniform or something. What's your Japasi friend? Is he Japasi? I think he is, but his tail is all frecked up. And his ears, and face, and what the frick is he wearing? Jaeger finally asked as he got a better look at the rather bombastic and impractical coats and clothes. Are you two cosplayers? Are you steam pirates punks in the air? No, the Retribution doesn't run on steam. What kind of idiot would think that? Andromeda scoffed. Diesel? He tried next. No, she growled. What exactly does your ship run on? Why not start with that, she tried. Jaeger thought about her, various ships that he'd been on, and his mind focused on the shot reactors. But rather than being able to even partially explain the complicated nature of the power, he just muttered, Magic crystals. Magic crystals? I can't tell if you're a regular idiot or trying to be smart and refer to uranium and other power sources as magic crystals. The woman muttered. Jaeger was about to go on, but the door burst open and a man in a short skirt walked in. Speak of magic, I shall appear, he laughed out and struck a pose for a moment. Oh no, not the crazy homeless guy again. Candace sighed as she set her hands on her hips. I am not homeless. I'm a proper term as a murder hobo. That's not it either. I mean, I am an adventurer. That's the actual proper term. That's just, people sometimes call us murder hobos, which might be why you think I'm homeless. But I'm not. I'm an adventurer. The man nodded as he looked around for a seat. Whoa. Did your husky fall in love with a dragon before they got a bit of blood magic or something? He asked as the whispertail, who had a bit of waffle, butter, and syrup all over his muzzles. Not husky. I'm perfectly fit for my age. The rabbit growled back. You better pay before you order this time. Candace ignored the whispertail and wagged her finger at the newcomer. Yes, I scoured this plane of existence and brought you one of those little plastic rectangles that you demanded. He pulled out some form of many of his pockets and the vest and handed it over. This is a library card, Candace muttered. That's fine. Then my library shall pay for my meal. The man nodded, content with that. No. Candace shook her head. Damn you! It is the right size and everything. The adventurer huffed. Hold on. He began rummaging around his pocket then. How about 5 iron daggers? He asked as he pulled 3 to show her. No. Candace just shook her head again. Oh, come on. They're worth plenty. Ugh. Fine. How about an incredibly rare and expensive regent? The testicle of... He started to reach into another pack. No testicles, Candace hissed. It's worth more than the whole damn building. The adventurer hissed. But Candace pointed to a sign at the corner, and the adventurer squinted to read it. Payment cannot be made in, animal parts. Well, it's not quite an animal, it is more of a web. They are sapient. Does that change anything? She pointed at a sign next to it. No payment in sapient body parts. Crap, there goes the most of my ideas. Don't you have gold or something? Candace offered. I thought you mentioned only accepting gold in card form. I don't have those, just coins. The man shrugged, but as Candace held out a hand, he quickly reached in his pockets and pulled out various coins. I'm Almaran. Most are just those places. Beware the tier ones, they bite. Candace cast a weary eye on the coins, but finally accepted them. Hey, Steve, I got stuff to pay with. Jaeger frowned as the rabbits without scales or horns or claws came in next, clutching a number of leaves in her head. Here you are, fine lady. I present the green leafy things in exchange for meals. Psst, she won't take those, Fenrina, Steve muttered, only for Candace to take them without question. What? She gets to pay in leaves. I like her, Candace shrugged. Oh, why, thank you, fair lady. I shall like food, please. I'll be in the corner. She began to head to the booth in the corner with Steve as her tail wagged heavily, accidentally smacking over the back of the guy sitting at the table with the other figures, all in tracksuit. Hey, watch your frickin' tail, you mutt! The guy growled out. Oh, Almerians. Happy to meet you, Fenrina turned to greet the man. Almerians? The frick are they? We're Italians, except for my friend with the skull here. He's Russian. The man pointed to the one across from him. Da, came the monosyllabic reply. Our people share a cultural understanding around tracksuits, is all, the man explained. I don't know either of those places. Steve here, have you heard of Italia? Fenrina asked. No, that sounds like a wops to me. Steve shrugged. Hey! The table began to growl at Steve and then, fricking watch it, buddy. Gonna go for calling people that. What? Wops is a city in Almara. It's a place. Steve shrugged and looked confused. The four men at the table then leaned in to have a hushed conversation before leaning back like the leader spoke again. All right, my friend in the shirt, we all allow it this time on account that we're not sure if it really is a city or not. But you best be watching yourself. It ain't healthy to mess with a godfather. Hey, I'm a fairy godfather myself, Steve added with a grin. A fairy godfather? I guess that explains the shirt. The men cackled and Fenrina dragged Steve off. Why do people keep saying that? Steve huffed before taking a seat in the far booth. Jaeger had just turned to start eating his waffle when the door behind him was opened yet again. My favorite pit stop, Wawful Yurt. A boisterous man came in wearing a large American flag hat, flannel shirt and jeans, followed by the beast of a woman in a uniform. Hey, Mary Sue, Billy Bob. Candace nodded as they entered. Candace, the military officer woman, nodded as they quickly found seats as well. Sure is getting crowded in here tonight, the big woman mentioned. Sure is, but there is always room for more. The waitress replied, and as if on cue, the door opened yet again as a cop walked in to find a spot in the corner. Vincent, is that a hole in your chest? The cop leaned back as he looked down at a gaping wound in his chest through the strange gear that he was wearing. Yeah, that'll happen, the cop nodded. Usual before I head off, Candace? He asked, and the waitress nodded and turned to set the ticket for his meal. Jaeger slowly picked up his own waffle, then, and looked around the place. It was bustling, all right, and there were a few high school girls in the corner studying, some lawyers talking about a case, even though one had blood splatters on a suit, and a nervous twig of a man with broken glasses talking to a cowboy and a priest, a tan surfer laughing it up with the conversation of a foreman, and some brooding old man wearing what looked like a bearskin. Jaeger even noticed another guy in a pirate costume glaring at the punk pirate beside him, who was glaring back. Jaeger figured it must have been one hell of a cosplay convention around somewhere, because he spotted a birdman squawking and complaining about her terrible students to who he thought was a postal courier. With a smile and a shake of his head, he turned back to focus on his food. This was just why he came here. The place that let everyone call it home. The proverbial warm food, the safe place to unwind after a hard day in the life of, well, whatever it was they all did. No matter where they were all from or how long they'd been around, everyone was always welcome. Wawful Yurt. And that, my friends, is the end of this Reddit quickie. I hope that you enjoyed. If you'd like to support the channel or the author, all the stuff is down below. And as always, I hope that you guys have a good one, and I'll see you in the next story. Cheers.